back. We are back, and today is You Make a Difference Day. Yep, you make a difference. We make a difference. Cherie, you make a difference. We all make You make a difference. I make a difference. We all make a difference. Oh, okay. I'm gonna turn into a maybe a nursery rhyme song or something here in a second now. Yeah. Okay, folks, so welcome back. And this entire week, we're talking about being free, feeling free to be ourselves, to take care of ourselves, take care of our family, our community, and make a global impact. That's a lot. That's a tall order. But you know what? Everything starts with a simple first step. And so that's kind of where we are. Yesterday we were talking about taking care of ourselves. And if you haven't had a chance to see that, please go watch that video. And today we're talking about you make a difference. It's about the ripple effect around us, our immediate family, our community, and things like that. All the good, yummy stuff that makes us feel part of a family, a part of a community, makes us feel warm and fuzzy when we walk into a room, because people like to see us because those are the people we love and we support and all that gooey stuff, right? Anybody want gooey stuff? Well, then we got it here, folks. Okay, so Sherry, I know, I'm going down a rabbit hole again.
Hi, Anne. Welcome back from the rabbit hole. It's good to see you.
So what are we talking about today, Sherry? What are we talking about? Tell them.
We are talking about sharing is caring, and just like everybody has seen, Anne loves to share her excitement. She loves to share her energy. She loves to talk about the ripple effect and how all of the things go completely around all of us in circles, and how just like music, our voice carries tone, our voice carries energy, our voice carries vibration, and it makes a difference in everyone around you's life, but we have to choose to share, right? So
We do. It's a choice we make every day, isn't it?
every day. And so
What if
let
we
this
don't
little
realize it?
sound, wait, we're going to let the little sound travel through us because we love sound. So I'll just do the one little quick bang just because that's how our voice travels through a community. It doesn't just stop unless we stop it. So, how are you going to share your message? How are you going to share with your family, your friends, your partners? How are you going to make this intimate level of conversation go one step further and impact people's lives?
Isn't that the most important part? The word intimate.
Yes.
Um, I know that personally, conversations were not a thing in my family growing up. Everybody did what they were. There was no warm and fuzzy conversations, and so when I was a teenager, I didn't feel like I had anybody to go to when stuff happened. And so I was very, very aware of that for myself. So I actually was much more willing to have more intimate conversations with my daughter, for example, right? And still, if it's not something we grow up with, it's not an easy thing to do, you know? And gosh, whether it's our friends, a lot of conversations are surface level. Hey, how are you? I'm fine. Everything is beautiful. No, it's not. But we don't. I mean, hopefully, usually everything is beautiful, or maybe most things are beautiful. But we state the positive, which is good. We're looking at the positive. I like looking at things on a positive, but somehow being vulnerable and sharing, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this, doesn't come easy for a lot of us. Whether it's friendship, whether it's our intimate partner, we
Hmm.
have challenges asking for what we want and sharing, fears and expectations and all that. So we have to grow into it. So what's going on? Let's talk about that. It's a heavy topic, but let's talk about that. How do we have healthier and more intimate conversations with our loved ones?
And well, you brought up such a good point. There are two living generations that are going right now, the baby boomers and the Gen X. These are the generations of zip the lip. We do not talk about our vulnerabilities. We do not talk about our deficits. We do not talk about the emotional component and emotional impact onto us because we were the go out and get it done. You
Yeah.
are the you have to just make things happen because you have a family to support, you have essentially society to live up to, you have these generational expectations that were just put out on you. And you know what? Figure it out, kid. That's why we didn't have a lot of conversations, and then I'm in that Gen X, in the earlier stages of Gen X part of, okay, well, we kind of figured it out ourselves because we were raised by parents that were told, go do it, go work, go live that dream, make things happen, and toughen up, kid. So we didn't learn how to have intimate conversations. It wasn't part of us. And that's actually worldwide. I have clients all over the world, and generationally, this is what we're seeing. It's not until we get to these, maybe about the 38 and youngers, that we're really starting to see more openness, more willingness, and they're raising their kids now with a very different mindset of please share and please share and please share. But we have to get over our discomfort with it. And so we have to walk into this notion that intimate conversation isn't scary. Intimate conversation doesn't mean someone's going to hurt you while you're vulnerable. It's, hey, we're going to have this intimate conversation because I care about you and I know you care about me. We can help each other. We can, even from the partnership side, business partnership side as well, we can link arms and we can go out and make that difference. And so that's really how we can take maybe some of our fears, some of our generational components that we were raised with, and we can step out of it and say, all right, I've learned how to do this, or I'm learning how to do this, and now I'm going to come out and live a healthier, wealthier life.
Yeah, no, love it. I just again telling you myself and the people around me, I did not learn how to really have my inner communication with myself even, you know? I was too busy telling myself what I'm supposed to think, what I'm supposed to feel, as opposed to what am I thinking and feeling, and then being able to talk about it. And so, kind of going back again, I learned how to really communicate in in my mid-30s, really, when things that, kids are doing from the day they're born now, I learned in my mid-30s. So, thank God I did learn. However, I know there are quite a few people around me because I'm in a baby boomer generation. So they are even worse than your generation. It's like, you don't air your dirty laundry out
Oh,
there. That's
yeah.
the old,
Hey, you
yeah,
guys
right.
taught us that. The
Yeah, I
hey,
know, right?
zip your lip,
What
kid.
were good teachers. We were
Suck it up,
such good
buttercup.
teachers. Yeah, but the good news is we can learn. We can learn. The thing about the human brain is that it always expands. Once it expands, it never goes back to its original size. That's what I heard, and I'm like, damn, I got a lot of expansion, material here. So let's expand. We're going to be talking about this. Obviously, you guys figured out this is an ongoing conversation. And so, the family and friends, again, it's being willing to be vulnerable. That's what I heard you say. It's uncomfortable, but if we make the first step, it might be the gateway to the other person, opening up themselves. So we're the trailblazers. Is that where we're supposed to be in our family? Come on, family, let's have a talk.
Yes. Yes. Make it different. I mean,
Well, yeah,
we're seeing that left and right. It's beautiful.
yeah. Well, I know I've done that within my family, my sisters and all that, so it does have a ripple effect. Okay, so we did that. Um, we 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 become brave and are willing to become vulnerable and take a chance of communicating and having more intimate conversations. And I like what you said that it just is as simple as, "Hey, I trust you, you trust me, so let's be vulnerable together. Let's have this talk." I love the way you put it so simply. Like, you know what? We don't have to complicate the heck out of everything now, do we?
No, you don't. It's more
But
complicated in what we don't say. The other one's trying to figure it out. And I don't know
yeah,
about you, but I haven't seen any successful mind reading companies come out in the, billion-dollar industry here. So we're probably not very good at it. It's easier just to say what you're thinking and say what you're feeling so you can get out there and work with it.
yeah, a lot less miscommunication, a lot less misunderstandings, a lot less fighting, a lot less of everything, a lot more of good stuff. Okay, so if that's the case, let's move on to the impact, in our community. How can we expand our impact? What does that mean exactly? The joy of sharing our knowledge and impacting. So, how do we become more engaged in our community? Somebody just deciding, I'm just going to start. Where do we start? We have knowledge, we have experience, we have passion, whatever. How do we get out there?
Well, you know how you said you have to get out of that comfort zone and it might be
Mm,
uncomfortable? Well, if everything that we knew
yeah,
growing up was what we developed as our comfort zone. It was the quiet, it was the untold. So, yes, we're going to go out and get uncomfortable, which means we're taking on brand new things. It's quite simple, folks. If it makes you feel a little bit unnerved because you grew up in quiet and you really are ready to start sharing these things and it'll make you happy inside, then you just step out and try it with that first person. Could be you in your mirror. And then you go out and tell a couple more people. And I know you have been very, very open about sharing your 33 years of sobriety.
mhm,
Look at these groups. Look at the impact that walking in amongst strangers to share your most uncomfortable thing can be so healthy, and it changes lives and it brings the joy and it brings other knowledge in because all of a sudden you put your guard down, you put your walls down to also hear others. And so
yeah.
that's what happens just naturally because, like you said, the brain keeps going and going and going. It's wanting to learn, it's learning new ways, it's learning how to take in more information. We don't stop taking in information, regardless of, even with isolation. What did we do? We all hopped on these electronic things and, like, well, no, my brain is starving for more information. So
Mm,
that's how we get out there. That's how we start to present it. And then next thing you know, we start talking a little bit more and a little bit more. And then we see more smiles and we're getting more social interaction. And that even comes up to my feel goods. We talked about this yesterday, folks.
mhm,
Go and understand a little bit more about the dopamine stacking because we're doing and doing and doing. And if that means even going in and integrating yourself into the community because you want to give them that small tidbit of information that you believe is helpful and it feels good to generate this info, feels good to share this info in a small base, then a bigger base, and then that global base, you'll see how all of that is so amazing and so impactful and life changing from internal to external.
yeah, you brought up a few different viewpoints that I'm bubbling up with ideas, remembering things. So I'll just share a couple. One, as far as sharing in a group, the reason the 12-step programs they've been around, so many of them now, and it was like 20 of them, more right now. Um, they they're based on community sharing and caring. And so it's sort of like, oh, he gets me, she gets me kind of feeling. Oh, I get, yeah, now I know, I feel that way too. So that's a big part of why 12-step programs work. And we tend to be more vulnerable if we feel like we're not going to be judged. So that's one part of it. But the other thing that I actually thought of is getting involved in a community. I'll give you an example. My daughter was in fourth grade. We were living in San Diego. I wanted to get really involved with join the PTA and how can I make a difference. Somehow I ended up heading off to father-daughter dance. I'm like, okay, what's the thing for this year? And what I did was went into, okay, what do I know? What am I familiar with? So I decided we're going to be doing the Academy Awards thing. So what did I do? At that time, we're still training experts to be interviewed on TV. So I got one of the reporters. We got the props. We did the whole red carpet. We dressed the gymnasium. It looked like an Academy Awards, event going on, right? And so the beauty of it was they were all dressed up, fathers and daughters, and they were walking up the red carpet and being interviewed by the reporter that they had seen on TV. So it was a beautiful, and we raised double the amount of money than we normally did. But the thing about it that I want to bring up is that one, my daughter felt so proud. That's my mom, and the the being involved in a community made me feel good because I was able to make a difference. And I was in my element, doing something that I love, making a difference for somebody I love in a community that I love. So that's stacking. Dopamine stacking right there. As you were saying, I'm like, yeah, that was dopamine stacking right there. The thing about it, so if you're new in a community, or even if you're not, I mean, life changes happen. And so how do we get involved with the community? And right now I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, okay, my life has changed. What do I want to do? So I want to dance. I want to go take dance lessons, get involved with dancing community because I want to get active. So doing things we love, we just become irresistible to ourselves first and foremost. But people want to be around us when we're having fun. Who wants to be around somebody who's miserable? We can be miserable by ourselves. We don't need help with that. And we can be happy by ourselves. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent again. But so, you bring up stuff, I remember stuff, and that's just kind of how it goes around here.
Uh-huh. And you danced us right into that final topic for today, and that's that intentionally adding dopamine and serotonin levels or increasing those to your emotional toolbox. So, thank you for whisking us away. I love having a swivel chair. I can do that. And this is how you do it. We often wonder, how do I get myself in all of maybe my reserved place to go do that one little baby step because I'm scared to death about getting out there and going and doing it. Yesterday we talked about dopamine. Today we're going to talk about dopamine and serotonin. That's our feel good and that's
We're
our
stacking.
mood.
We're stacking now
Ye-
dopamine and serotonin.
Yes. And the beautiful part about it, and no, you actually don't know that beautiful part about it because you and I have never had this conversation. There's those assumptions of what serotonin is. So we're definitely going to have to take a lot of these topics into the health month because that's holistic health is my jam. Just saying. This is what I do. But where was I? Now, oh, I pulled an and look, I'm all in my
We're stacking the dopamine and
yes.
serotonin.
Okay.
So we don't know enough about serotonin. That's what it was.
Oh, well, that's because the serotonin and the dopamine stacking happen so much alike. We need to eat well. We need to get out and exercise. We need to get ourselves in the sun or take a vitamin D supplements. We need to look at how we're nourishing our body. When you bring all of these things together, you want to engage more. So we're taking dopamine for our feel goods and our physical feel goods. We're taking serotonin, which is our mood regulation chemical. Here's the thing that most don't know: 90 to 95% of serotonin is actually in your gut. So when we say we have a gut instinct, it's funny that a neurotransmitter is primarily in our stomach, which is why food is so important with serotonin because it does change our mood. food mood connection is definitely a bigger topic for a different day. But if you know that it's so highly regulated by the stomach, knowing what you're bringing in, because again, we want to elevate those dopamine levels and those serotonin levels all at the same time, then we're going to take care of our body a whole different way. And we will get our feel goods. We will then have that little bit of courage. This is that food courage, our mood courage to go and engage in our community, to go and have those conversations. We want to start with all of those things. But again, that's going to be definitely a bigger conversation because I just don't think we can cover it in the minutes that we have left. And I
Mm,
know, Anne, you
mm.
always have such good questions for me, and I want to make sure I get to those.
I do, because I'm going to stay right with this one. I'm like, I want to know how to feel good now. Come on. So let's just give us a couple of examples. Maybe combinations of foods that make us feel good or make us feel not so good. So let's just what can we do? You know, what should we eat more of? And you already brought up supplement. Make sure we get vitamin D. Why is that important? You know, things like that. Just some quick things that so it carries us over into next week.
Okay, so again, vitamin D, you can either do supplement or the sun. The sun provides us with most of the vitamin D that our body's going to need, but depending on where you're living, sometimes it's not always going to work out well for you for those overcast areas. So a supplement works wonders. Vitamin D deficiency is also one of the two leading deficiencies that you see in depression, whether it's a clinical depression or a situational depression. Our vitamin D levels come down. So if you're feeling a little low, add some vitamin D, go sit outside, maybe take a nice walk because the exercise also does that for us. But if we're looking at how food is going to interact with us and affect everything that we do, we do really want to stay away from processed foods. First and foremost, processed foods are something that if it didn't look like that in its original form, it's been processed. If you needed to know, how do I know if this is a processed food or not? We don't grow bread. It doesn't come out in a field looking like little slices of bread. So we know that that's a processed food. The chicken has no nuggets, folks. I'm sorry. there, there's nothing on a chicken that looks like that in its original form. Apples. We can bypass the apple pie and just eat the apples. Eating food in its original form is always going to be your safest, most clear bet on knowing that okay, I'm getting in the stuff that I'm supposed to have for the most part, and I have to balance things out. I have to integrate. I know here's that dreaded word, carbohydrates. Our brains only operate off of carbohydrates, and folks, that does not mean starches. I'm not talking rice and pastas. I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. Trust me, they are not there to hurt you whatsoever. We have lived our entire existence with these things in place. That protein, the animal based proteins, they eat all those carbs and look, it does great for them, right? So, making sure that you integrate enough fruits, make sure you integrate enough vegetables, make sure your body's hydrated. We are 70% water inside. Please take that time to make sure that you're taking care of that because the dehydrated body makes the dehydrated stomach, which then dehydrates all the way around, and we just don't think straight. So, no, your serotonin levels aren't going to stay up. Your dopamine levels aren't going to be elevated enough to get you in action. We want to keep you in action. So, fruits, vegetables, water, sun, some movement. Those are pretty much the best way to get yourself on a if I didn't know before, at least I know now path.
Yeah, and that's simple. That's what I like about it. It's simple, and I had a vision of field full of bread, plastic wrapped.
The
Yeah,
fields of
so
bread loaves
yeah,
like this,
yeah.
just swaying in the
There you
wind.
go. There you go. There you go. Ooh, it's a breezy
Chickens
day.
looking for their nuggets. I know those were somewhere. Where did they go?
Where did I leave my nuggets?
I
No.
almost totally dress up as
Oh,
a nugget for Halloween.
yeah, it is easy, and I find that if I pay attention, I know whether I'm craving fruits or vegetables, and so a lot of it's just paying attention. Now I'm paying attention because I'm getting ready to lose this pounds, and I don't know when they're going to be going because they're not going. so, so so we're taking off, but I don't. Oh, we're revving up the engines. That's what we're doing. Okay, so okay. Anyways, but we're gonna keep you posted, folks, on that. But a lot of different thoughts on how many units of vitamin D do we need? And you can have too much vitamin D in your system. Usually, oh, that is, So there was conversation about that. So how many units of vitamin D do we need?
Ooh, that is such an individual based question because a lot of people also don't know the difference between D3 and D2 and when to supplement it with a K2. I'm really going to leave that to our health month because that's
Okay.
that's a little bit tricky. I don't want to send anybody in the wrong direction. If you ever have a question, anybody, folks, you guys can absolutely order a full blood panel on yourself. Across this country, we are allowed to request our own blood work. If you don't know where your vitamin D levels are at, check first. We don't want to just supplement things that maybe we don't need. For those of us, again, bigger health conversation, for those of us that maybe have other types of genetic factors, we may need a lot. So always
Okay.
consult the lab work first before jumping into a big supplement program.
There
Don't
we
just
go.
take anybody's word for it. So,
Yeah. No, actually, that was an important point because a lot of us hear our next door neighbor. Oh, this is what I'm taking. This is what you should take. So that could get us in some hot water with our body. Let's just put it that way. Okay,
mhm.
so we're ready to wrap it up. Wrap it up. So today, well, I'm just going to leave this one up to you. I'm going to come back to you between friends and family, community, and the internal. So, what's going on? You want to just sum it all up for everybody today? What did they get from us?
What they're going to get from us or what they already got from us and
No, what they got from us
what they're
today.
going to
Yeah,
come back for because they always come back. They can't
yeah,
resist us. Why?
yeah.
Because we make a difference. And sharing is caring. So we've shared this information. We've talked about how generationally we can break those molds and create more healthy and more intimate conversations so that we can make a bigger impact all the way around. It feels good for us, it feels good for them. And we can engage in our community and understand that when we share these things or share any ideas or just even notes of appreciation for our community, we will get also the feel goods that come back from the reciprocity of also being appreciated. But we love just doing for others. It does. It absolutely, like we mentioned yesterday, that dopamine stacking happens when we give and when we share and when we think creatively about who we're going to be helping next. It feels good because the goal is great. And that's us intentionally adding those dopamine and those serotonin levels in our way to our emotional toolbox that gets us to make every level of impact from family to community and on our way to a global state.
Beautiful wrap up. Well, there you go. Thanks everybody for joining us. Whether you're live with us now or whether you are watching the replay and you're recording anywhere, please do comment and let us know what's going on. What would you like to have more of? Because that's what we're doing. You get to dictate a lot of the content that's coming up based on what you want. And so we're going to be back tomorrow with the third component of this fabulous series right here. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about leveling up your legacy. What does that mean? Well, there's a lot that can happen in a very short period of time if you know how to leverage. So, we're going to be sharing some tips and things about that tomorrow, how to just make an impact that lives way beyond here and now. Okay. So, with that, again, awesome doing this with you, Sherry. Just love what I'm learning.
Thank you.
yeah, it's awesome. So I'm having a good time, folks. Are you? Let us know. So with that, we're going to sign off and we will see you tomorrow.